All right. So that was fun. I just had a nice quick stream going over an idea that I had, with respect to a song that I think had to do with the tarot. And so we did a little stream talking about maybe some ideas about the song. It's called Shape of My Heart by Sting. I believe that song is a ballad to the tarot, so you should check that stream out if you haven't. I'm going to leave it up, and I have a couple questions that I'm not really clear on, and hopefully the community can sort of jump in on that and help me to truly decipher the lyrics of that song, because I think it's something that is pretty interesting, and it's leading me to wonder if it occurred elsewhere. Are there other songs that, unbeknownst to us, have some tarot symbolism? I'm sure there's some that are overt, right? But I wonder if there are any that are sort of hidden and not necessarily widely talked about. We'll have to see. It'll be fun though. So I plan on staying on tonight for a couple hours and going through some readings, going through some other ideas. This is a really nice deck there. This is the starting to grow on me. The Tarot of the Holy Light. This deck is very unique in its approach to the symbolism visually, but more so than that, has kind of taken this very interesting approach to the astrology and to the traditional tarot symbolism, which is certainly there, but at the same time has this whole nother level of density packed into the symbolism. This we're all very familiar with, the Rider-Waite version of this deck. This card here is one of the more familiar images in the Rider-Waite pantheon of imagery. So let's take a look at that. And we'll compare these, at least a couple cards, and kind of get a sense of the differences and some of the similarities. Take a look at what we can see here. So there's the So this is the original Rider-Waite-Smith symbolism of the Three of Swords. And here we have a very similar approach, obviously. I mean, we have, instead of a heart, the Orphic egg. And here is a very interesting interpretation of a different symbol. The cards, tiny? Yeah, I'm not sure. They're actually, these are the minis. Let me show you the box. It's kind of great, actually. These are, it's the standard Rider-Waite, but a mini version. And I like this because it fits nicely in the glove box. And you never know when you need to pull a small deck out. It doesn't require a lot of space to do even a large layout, and so these are really nice. I like the small deck, yeah. And it's a U.S. game systems. There's nothing wacky with the symbol. They didn't mess with the color or anything else funky. It's just a standard Rider-Waite-Smith mini. So let's do this then. Pisces popped in. Let's take a look at we'll use this deck here, actually, while we're talking about it. And we'll continue to kind of go through a little bit at a time and take a look at some of these cards and how they differ and the approach. From what I understand, if I'm correct, the symbolism here is one thing, but the approach to the artwork in the cards was kind of a composite of different artwork that you'd see in old sort of alchemical and hermetic treatises and things of that nature, combined with original artwork from the artist made in that style. And so all of the cards have this vibe of like an ancient kind of Kabbalistic, hermetic kind of treatise. It's really, really interesting. So what are we doing here? Any love interest coming this year? Okay, let's take a look. And yeah, the little one is very easy to shuffle. It is. It's the riffle is when you first get it, just because it's kind of chunky, you know. It's and so when you first get the deck and it's still stiff and not used, it's a little tough to get the riffle out on the smaller deck. But once you give it some time, you know, it's a nice random riffle. You know, that's so it does shuffle pretty well. But it doesn't take a little bit of breaking in when you first get it, because it's like a big chunky kind of deck. The cardstock is the same thickness as the normal cards, and the fact that they're smaller kind of gives it that effect of it being like denser. It's, you know, so. Alrighty, so let's take a look at, for Pisces. And now when you say this year, I'm going to assume that means the remainder of the year, right? So basically the next several months. Let me zoom in on this for you. Okay. What we have here is the Queen of Swords. The Queen of Swords represents a couple of things. The Queen of Swords represents, first, the element of air. It represents obviously a feminine energy, and that energy in this particular circumstance is one of intellect, one of quick wit, so to speak. However, can at times come off as sharp, can come off as cold when they don't mean to, and typically that's because of the practicality. You know, people who are kind of mental as opposed to emotional thinkers can sometimes come off, although the goal is practicality, they can come off potentially a little bit cold. All right. Hello, Jasmine. Yes, tonight we're talking about a couple of things, but I'm going to be doing some readings, yes. And so, with respect as well, when you're speaking about love this is not necessarily a card that is indicative of love as a general rule. This is more of a card of a person that is powerful on their own, and so it's not the kind of card that on its own you would say, yes, this is or represents something coming that you can expect or count on. What I rather see is you having an okay time being alone in the immediate future. So the answer I would say is no. I don't necessarily see love coming in the immediate future over the next several months. Now that is not written. Certainly you have the ability to alter your behavior, and in doing so can affect the trajectory of your circumstance, right? So we always have that power to do that, and that gives us the freedom and the sort of the power to let go of the fear of that consequence, whether I won't get what I want or will I. When you sort of let go of that and allow what the karmic flow to carry you, it's a much easier process, and you wind up coming out the other end much stronger. And so, certainly that's something that we can expand on if you wanted to do something a little more advanced. Look at some of the influences as far as the stages, what led up to this, and then where kind of in its current state where it's leading. And then, maybe some actions that you could take that would, if your desire is to accelerate the process of locating somebody, as of right now, if nothing changes, that's not going to occur. However, if you did want to make changes to help to facilitate that, then we could look into maybe what that should be, and some of the things to look out for with respect to that. So that's certainly something that we could do, but that's out of the scope of like a one card free type of answer. But I hope that gave you some insight, and it really comes down to know who you are, know really who you are inside. And once you have that locked down, what you wind up doing is you wind up acting, reacting, and sort of looking at the world through the lens of your real self, and so you attract things that are good for you, for that type of person, right? So at the end of the day, when you are in a state of openness to love happening, it's important that you put out who you are. Okay. So quickly, I have a question for you guys. How is the stream going? Does it seem to be going smoothly, or is it hiccuping? Oh, thank you so much, Sparkle. I appreciate that. That's very nice of you. And let me, in the meantime, put a short list up here. Okay. There we go. Let's just move this for a moment. Pardon me. Just want to put something in the chat here, and then we'll move forward. Okay, so next then in line would be Jasmine, and then Eliza. Good to see you, Eliza, as always. And then Sparkle. Okay, so just give me a moment. Oh, great! I'm glad that you like the music. I appreciate that. I think it's I don't know. It adds to the atmosphere, and it's really important in getting everybody kind of centered in the right place, and I think it's a good way to do that. So I appreciate that. Okay, so the free list is going to be Jasmine. Eliza. And Sparkle. Okay. Okay, and then let me go ahead and just pin that so it's easy to see on the top there. Okay, there we go. Great. All right, sorry about that. Appreciate patience. So, again, for anyone who's entered recently, I'm using the just in the beginning here. Let me pop the list up. The Tarot of the Holy Light, which is a very interesting deck. It is loosely based on the Rider-Waite-Smith system, which will be apparent as you see the cards if you're familiar with tarot. But has also taken a very unique approach in the artwork and some additional symbolism that got packed in using the alchemical, hermetic, and other esoteric systems. Okay, puppy. Okay, puppy. So we have a new puppy in the house, and she said she wants to be part of the stream, so... This is Melanie. Say hello. She's only a couple months old, about 6 months old, and so she is a fireball of a little spunky. Yes, you are. Alrighty. And she's having some fun playing with her brother. So, yeah. You have to pardon that. We have an extra little soundtrack tonight. But so the symbolism that they packed in with the extra layer of composited esoteric imagery that is very indicative of old alchemical stuff. It's really cool. So, okay, we're looking at Jasmine. Okay, someone interested. Okay, great. Sure. Let's take a look. Okay. Just want to give this a couple more shuffles and then maybe a cut. And we'll go from there. Okay. Oops. Let's try a riffle with these. So we have, let me zoom in on that for you. Okay, what we have is the Priestess. Okay, this card, if you're familiar as far as the standard rider system, that is the High Priestess. All right, this is the normal symbolism. The Priestess is, among other things, there is a very decidedly lunar energy about her. There's also an energy of water typically associated. And it's also a card, not by accident in the context of your question, the 2. And the number 2, as we know, is really at the crux of your question. Right? Your question is, about a connection with another person, and that just implies the number 2 in and of itself. And so that's really that's the thing we're looking at. That's the thing we're deciding about. And we get a distinct feminine energy, and also an important component of the High Priestess is the Let me try to put this in the best way that I can. There's no high priest in the tarot, right? The way that the names got kind of changed around, because it used to be the same, but it got changed around a little bit. There is the Hierophant. The Hierophant, which is the number. Here, let me just find the card for you. There you go. Is the male version of this. It's like the male pope and she's the female pope, right? And so, and let me get that out actually just for reference, right? So you'll see these two. You have the female version and the male version. And in this particular circumstance, what these refer to are different degrees of the institution, the idea of the body of knowledge that is related to the subject at hand. Like, particularly, this could be referring or reference to, at least in the case of the Hierophant, the institution of religion, or the institution of education, and so forth, and all the little subcultures and rules and things, the dogmatism that come with those institutions. Now, on the reverse side, we have the High Priestess, right? And that is the feminine aspect of that idea. So what we have is the idea of the institution, but from the female perspective, right? And so basically the vibe I'm getting across pretty much all of the different angles that I look at the energy that I'm feeling is a yes, that there is feminine power and that it is being noticed. And so the quick answer is yes. There is an interest. You're being noticed. Okay, I'm gonna put that here. All right, I hope that was insightful. Okay. And so that's the Terror of the Holy Light, right? It's a very, very unique imagery compared to the standard Rider-Waite-Smith imagery that we're familiar with. Looks like I forgot how to shuffle tonight. I've been having trouble, sort of like, I don't know, fine motor skills, recently, which is making shuffling the deck a little hard. Let's just do it that way. We'll force it. So, you're welcome. Again, I hope that was insightful. And I'll say to you what I say to everybody. If you do want to look a little further into that and maybe expand on any of the aspects of that or anything further, in the description or instructions on how to either book a private reading with me, or if you'd like to, for a donation, we can do a larger reading tonight and really do a deep dive, like a full Celtic cross spread on the situation, or a what if. The what if reading is a really pretty broad, sort of 60,000 foot view of what would happen if you took one step or another, and which one is really kind of like the appropriate direction to go with respect to your overall karmic destiny, like what wouldn't go against or harm you. That's a great reading, that what if. But yeah, there's certainly options for looking a little further into that. Okay, and who is next on the list here? It's going to be Eliza, and then Sparkle. Okay, I'm going to switch the deck up here a little bit. Unless you'd like this, actually. Next up is Eliza. Do you want to use this same deck, or let me jump over to the deck list, or would you rather pick something else? Or I can decide. It's up to you. great. Sure. Okay. So what I'm going to pull out, I would say, let's do the Radiant Sun. I like this one a lot. This is the Oracle of the Radiant Sun. This is astrology based. The deck is basically a representation of the signs and planets, and is a very, very good tool for having for getting what I like to call a silhouette of the karmic circumstance with respect to the two people involved, right? And so this is a good way to kind of look at, if I were to sort of shine a light on that situation, it would cast a shadow, and through that shape you're able to kind of discern the overall feeling, direction of that energy. So that's how I'm going to approach your question in this case. Whose name? Lucky Charm. Let's take a look. Okay, so there's a couple more shuffles, and then we'll pull one out and see what we see. Okay. So let's jump that. This is Mars in Aquarius. Mars in Aquarius. So what we're referring to here is an angry river. Another way to put that would be taking a firm stance, right? Kind of being brave in the face of disagreement, right? And so with respect to your question, is he your lucky charm? This is kind of a no. What I see here rather is that there's potentially a comfort from one degree that allows you to be open with your opinions if they're separate, but at the same time there's like some kind of like a judgment behind the scenes. Like there's not a resentment that forms, but there's not necessarily an acceptance. And so what I'm getting basically is the idea that there may be this back and forth here. It's not negative 100% of the time. It seems like there can be very valuable banter that comes from this. This like kind of like back and forth sort of disagreements can be fun, and you can also, it allows you to explore each other through conversation, and at the same time your own opinions, and really get a good solid idea from that perspective of what you're really thinking in that situation. I will say this too, that this is an implication that the conversation take place. This is implying that there is a conversation, and so my advice would be to have that conversation. As far as luck is concerned, in a couple of different ways that this comes about, that's not really the energy that came up. This is more your willpower, which is the thing that you use when you are not relying on luck. It's the thing that you access when the strength is needed for you to make your opinion known and enroll others in that opinion. So it's almost it's almost a magical act, but that requires there to be a kind of letting go of the fear of the results and saying, I just want it to be what it is. So what I'm getting at is that you make luck. Luck is something, I think it's a word that is misunderstood. What luck is knowing who you really are and what you really want and are supposed to be directing your energy toward. And when you do that, you naturally begin to attract and manifest the things that are right in your life. And that will include abundance, abundant love, abundant security. But the reverse is also true. If you go against your actual will and you go against your self, the consequence of that is a lack of abundance and a lack of security. And so you would be unlucky. So we do actually make luck by acting right and acting in a manner that is correct in our overall trajectory, right? So I hope that was insightful. I'll put this back. Alright. Let me just jump real quick and make sure that everything's okay on the stream here. It looks good. Alrighty, so next is Sparkle. Right? Yep. Okay, so hang on. Let me just do this. Free list closed. You're so welcome, Eliza. Thank you so much. And please, anyone who is getting any value out of what I'm doing, or feels like that they want to share what I'm doing, I really encourage you to please like the video. That simple act alone of clicking on that little thumb, it's really something what it can do to a new channel and to help it get out there. And so if anyone finds any value in what I'm doing, please like it, and leave a little comment, or just at the minimum like the video. I really appreciate it. All right, let me go ahead and pin this to the top in the meantime. Okay. Alrighty, let me jump back. Okay, so Sparkle is asking, will MM reach out? Okay, so let's take a look. Will MM reach out? I have a different deck I'm going to use for that. I'm going to pull out the Tarot of the Abyss. Let me go to my deck list here. This third one from the bottom, Tarot of the Abyss. The artist is Anna Torian. She's really something. You can search her on YouTube, and there's actually video of her producing that deck. There's a couple of videos that she put up of her drawing a couple of those cards as she was in the process of producing the deck, which is really neat. But that said, I'm a very big fan. This is probably my favorite deck to use right now, and has been since I first saw it. It's going to be hard to beat that record, because it really is something special, and you'll see what I mean when I shuffle and start pulling these cards here. So, okay, so this is for Sparkle. The only thing better than a sparkle is two sparkles. So, actually, these I can probably riffle shuffle pretty well. Let's give that a shot here. Okay. Still a little stiff on the corners. Alrighty. Alrighty, so we start with the Two of Pentacles. Let me zoom back in here. We start with the Two of Pentacles, okay? No. The answer is no. Where I came to that conclusion is that one of the things that I see very often with the Two of Pentacles, and actually it doesn't hurt, I think, oftentimes, so many people are familiar with the Rider-Waite deck that I like to have it next to the cards that I pull with other decks. The symbolism here is basically of infinity, of juggling, of cyclic motion. Here, let me show you. It's right. In this case, he's juggling, and in this case, there's yo-yos going on. And now there's two people here as well. The symbolism is very beautiful. With your question here, right? You have this one's paying attention to the yo-yo, tick-tocking back and forth, same thing here, right? But now they're not looking at each other, and this person is very conspicuously in the background, right? And there's a distraction. The overall message that I'm getting here is that there's a distraction, and that distraction is preventing the MM from reaching out. So the gist of what I'm seeing there is no, and what the delay is, or what the lack of communication is a distraction. Something is distracting and it's leading the attention away. Okay, and so that's what I'm seeing about that. Now, that said, and I'll say it to everybody, if there's you do want to look a little further into that, there's a couple of different reading types that I think would be appropriate. There's some that are kind of the rather than looking at you or them or the particular circumstance, rather you look at the connection, almost like you're taking a microscope and tuning it to a certain frequency that really only looks at it from a karmic perspective. It's purely the majors as far as the cards are concerned, and it's really designed to look into it's almost similar to looking at it from a music theory perspective. What frequency are you at right now? What frequency are they at right now? And if you were to theoretically play those two notes at the same time, would it sound pretty or ugly? Would it make music or noise? And so that's that type of reading. It's kind of long. It's it can take maybe about a half an hour, maybe a bit longer. You really get down into the core, and can be very insightful. So, and if you are interested in doing that, there's instructions in the description. And all I could ask at the minimum is, if you do like what I do, or find any value in what I'm doing, please like the video. It really helps out a new channel. So since I have this deck out, I think we should take a look at it a little more. And one of the ways that I think will be fun to do that is sort of a personal message. And so to anybody who's joined since, or anybody that I've already done a quick question for, what I'd like to do is to sort of switch it up and just do a personal message. You don't ask the question. What I'm going to do is tell you what you need to know. What you're not thinking of asking, but is important that you know. And so let's take a look at that, okay? So, who would like to participate in that? If you are interested in participating in, really quickly, me doing a personal message, this is individual to each person. It'll be separate for everybody. Simply go ahead and put the number 1 or yes or something along those lines in the chat, and I'll be happy to pull a card for you. And in the meantime, I'm going to shuffle through these and kind of go through some of these cards. Because it's just a beautiful deck, and it deserves attention. So I love this card. This is great. The Hanged Man. You know, the Hanged Man is usually shown as a person hanging upside down, tied by their feet with their arms out. And in this case, the way that the artist chose to illustrate the hanging upside down is to first paint it, or draw it rather, upside down. But at the same time, it also implies that you are the person hanging upside down, right? So it actually enrolls you in this world. It kind of it engages you in the actual process, like you're looking out and this is your view. I just love that. I mean, how awesome is that? That's just so great. Four of Cups. I think this is very indicative of the Rider-Waite symbolism. Only that's just great. I love that. Because there's an implication that those cups have been sitting there for so long that the roots grew around it, right? Like, so this person is like really lost. Oh, so gorgeous. I think we all have been tempted to want to color this card. Not this, like scan it and like color it. But I don't know if I could ever even come close to doing it justice. And I think it's like inappropriate to alter finished artwork. I would love for Anna Torian to color this card. She is, anyone who's familiar with her work is, you know, a master of projecting emotion through the use of color, and very complex ideas through the use of color. Which ironically, my favorite deck of hers is black and white, so go figure. But that said, though, really quite a beautiful example. The different elements. You have this element of fire and the element of water coming together to create this new thing. This, you know, the idea of the alchemical marriage, the product of the work. It really is a great card. I mean, really, I couldn't pick one if I tried. Two of Wands, that's great too. You know, people familiar with the Rider-Waite-Smith know the Two of Wands as the person, you know, kind of looking out. It's just great. She did a great job. Just love that. So good. I'm like, okay. Alrighty, so before I go tonight, let me pull a card real quick. And this will kind of be a good night message before the evening ends. Let's take a look at what we can... what should we know before the night is over? Okay. We have the Empress. This is a very good card. This is sort of the the divine feminine being manifest in a position of not just power, because clearly the Empress rules, but more importantly, she is like the ultimate mother. She is not just the ruler of the people, but the ones that they need in order to sustain. She is the mother of everyone. And so the lesson here and the message is that in any of the interactions that you have moving forward for the rest of the day into tomorrow night, try to put out the energy of caring for those people, and hopefully that will be seen and known, and that will create a relationship, even if it's subconscious, that we do need each other, and that without each other we are less, and with each other we are greater. Okay, so I had a great night. I appreciate it. I expect to jump in and out of live streams pretty frequently, and so if you are a subscriber and haven't hit the bell, I encourage you to do that, because that's how you're going to know when I come on. And I'm always doing all kinds of interesting stuff, different promotions, different giveaways, lots of fun stuff. So thank you for joining the stream tonight, and we'll see you guys probably within the next, well, definitely within the next day, but who knows how many times in between then. So